We knew the day was coming when the Charger and the Challenger were going to come to the end. And we're seeing this actually in kind of a farewell to arms in the next model year, where Dodge is going to produce 7 different limited edition vehicles. One of them I'm already in love with, and they should have built this car from Jump Street. And that is a Challenger convertible. I would have loved to have a Challenger convertible 6-speed manual with 5.7 liter V8, and I've been black, and I'd have had that car all day. But oh no, they're gonna wait till now and a third party to build it for kind of their last hurrah, and it ain't gonna be cheap. The third party that they're gonna ship it to from the factory will convert it into a convertible, and this is not new. Automakers have done this before. GM has done it, where you partially assemble the car and it is assembled with a roof, and then you ship it to a third party who will modify the vehicle and make it a roadworthy convertible. This convertible, this Challenger convertible, the conversion will add almost $27,000 to the sticker price, which means they're going to do it right, because there's a lot they will need to do in order to make it a legit. But oh my God, I love the picture of it. I want this thing. And they say that Dodge dealers are making it easy for 2022 and 2023 Dodge Challenger customers to add a convertible top to the world's quickest, fastest, and most powerful muscle car, so they say. So what's going on? I believe that 2023 is the last for the Charger and the Challenger. So if you're thinking that you really want a Dodge Charger Hellcat sedan, you might want to do it now. If you're looking for a Challenger in any trim, now would be a good time to probably pull the trigger and see if you can get one. Here's a piece of good news for y'all SUV lovers that got a need for speed. They are bringing back in limited quantities, as part of this kind of conversion and transition, the Durango Hellcat. And I'm trying to think, I drove one, and the question that I ask is, why does a vehicle that size need to go that fast? Now, it's fun. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's fun, but it's way too much vehicle to need to go that fast. And what they're looking at doing for the Durango Hellcat is they're expecting that particular engine combination. They want to see if they can get a product run a little longer than they planned. So they're going to try to see if they can extend that a while. But I can guarantee you, that puppy ain't going to be cheap. Now, I don't recall seeing a price for it, but I would be surprised if it went for any less than the sedan was going. The sedan was right around 80 grand. And I would guess it would probably start there and could be as high as 90 or more, depending how it's equipped and depending what the final numbers are, particularly in the supply chain constrained pandemic post world that we're in. Kind of hard to say where those numbers will fall, but boy, I'll tell you, that'd be one seriously gnarly ride. But yeah, there's that. They did finally get honest and introduce one of the first vehicles, new vehicles, which is more of a crossover SUV, called the Hornet. And they're expecting it to roll out next year. Now, full disclosure, the Hornet as launched will not be an electric. It will have one model, which will be a hybrid model, which will give you up to 30 miles of pure electric range, which I'm like, why even bother?
Yeah, I agree.
Why even bother? But okay, all right, you guys got to get there. Now, they're taking a chapter out of the Genesis GV60 book, with including something called Power Shot mode. And that will be on the performance-oriented Hornet RT. And that hybrid version will give you literally, and I want to say, is it 15 seconds or 25 seconds of a boost? I think up to 25 more horsepower for that as a launch situation, which is like, oh my God, now we are launching spacecraft on the ground. Now, it sounds like this is going to be the next new thing. Everybody's going to have some sort of launch mode or sport mode or power mode or boost button. It was cool in the Genesis. I don't know how I feel about this in the Dodge Hornet. Now, that RT I talked about will be the brand's first quote-unquote electrified drivetrain. And I'm wondering if that is a lot like the e-assist that you can get in the Ram, where you have basically an electric motor to assist under hard acceleration and certain load requirements. So it gives you an extra boost and it's electric, but it's not designed particularly to run the vehicle. It's designed to give you that little extra oomph for demand situations, which allows them, in fairness, to use a smaller displacement gasoline motor because you have the electric motor. So that's why I say electrified. Now, my problem with the Hornet is twofold. Because my first question was, and I had this feeling, and then I read on, and I was right. Where's it going to be built? It's going to be built by Stellantis in a Fiat plant. Or actually, an Alfa Romeo plant, which same difference. It is based on the same platform as the Alfa Romeo Tonale, which was introduced earlier this year, and they will both roll down the same assembly line in Naples, Italy. I'm sorry. Opinion here and a little bit of a rant. No. So no. Italians designed some beautiful looking cars. I mean, they're amazingly seductive, but hardcore quality running day in and day out, not so much. Not so much. And that concerns me because Chrysler has always been chasing quality. Even now, chasing quality. It's been a challenge for them for years. Even though they continue to get better, they still lag the industry because the industry is not staying still. At once upon a time, Consumer Reports had noted, and this is probably 10, 15 years ago, that in order for any vehicle to have an average rating year in and year out from Consumer Reports, it had to improve by 10% per year, every year, just to stay average. That is what the industry was doing in terms of moving the needle every year. And it seemed like that, at least under the old Chrysler days, that they had a challenge, and even into the Fiat Chrysler days. So I'm a little bit, I don't know. That does not give me a warm fuzzy. I would have liked to have seen this vehicle built here and give it a half a chance. I'm going to hold my judgment till I can get behind the wheel of one to see how it's made, to see how it's put up. But if my experience with the Jeep Wrangler 4xe and my experience with the Jeep Renegade is any clue, I am not holding out hope for this vehicle. I'm really not. I'm not. I'm just, it's kind of OE of little faith. Now, really quick, if you're wondering where this Hornet name came from, and they talk about it's based on a concept car back about 10, 15 years ago. Well, it goes back a little further. They talk about the Hudson Hornet. Guess what? Chrysler owns that name. So does Stellantis. Through a variety of mergers, Nash and Rambler merged to become American Motors, which was bought by Chrysler, which became Stellantis. They own the name. They've owned the name. They own the rights to the name. So they were able to.
Is that just name for cars, or what about like the Green Hornet?
Would you believe that was actually a Chrysler, that series that they used, a Chrysler Imperial?
You know what I mean? When you own the name of something, is it you own it in the auto industry?
Yes.
Or okay, that's it?
As a brand.
Okay.
As a brand. And you got to protect the brand.
Green Hornet's a brand?
It is, but it's not Hornet per se.
Yeah.
As in Hudson Hornet, which, by the way, Stellantis owns both those names. Was a little more involved than the article discussed.